How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and we have the latest update news for you for next week. And this is a very interesting one, and of course it is Wargaming's 25th anniversary that's coming up. So we're going to be having a look at some of the things that they'll be introducing along with some of the update notes, some of the questions that they've answered, and that will, of course, all be in this video. But first things first, let's have a look at what they did last week. So we have a quick recap, only 1 minute or so. So essentially they brought in this French Cold War tech tree line. So this is the Cold War game mode, obviously, that has the Lorraine 40T, had the Batchat 25T, had all of the AMX 30B variants. You also then had the AMX 32, the AMX 40, and then the Leclerc T3, which are all part of this French kind of medium tanks line that's come into Cold War. We also then had the release of the Shah MLE 75, so this is the Shah MLE 75 skinned version, the Fraternite, and essentially this is the tier 9 light tank that has the burst gun, but also has the option of using a 6-round autoloader as well, with 2 different drive modes. You have standard and turbo, and essentially they can reach up to 75 kilometers an hour, which, yeah, very, very good tank. You can have a look at the tank review, which we've done on the channel, so you can go back and have a look at that one. I will link it at the end of this video in the end screen, so at the very end of the video it will just pop up. We've also then had the control mode test for Cold War, so they launched the first beta test of the Cold War control mode, so you can do that right now, in fact, and you have until July 17th to actually stop, or at least play it and give it a go and see how you like it. But most importantly, it is next week, and of course on track to the K91, the Soviet medium tank, which is basically an on-track event to the K91, the 430 and the 430U. So a fantastic way of getting yourself 3 top-tier premium tech tree vehicles without having to buy anything or do anything like that. It essentially gets you a 1.25 times XP, I believe, or 1.5 times XP when you're grinding through all of the tanks that lead up to the K91. It starts from, I believe, like tier 5, and then leads all the way up to things like the Object 416, the Object 430-2, and then, of course, the K91, the 430 and the 430U, which are all very, very interesting tanks, and we've done most of them, and so the only one left to review is the K91 out of the 3 kind of tanks that lead off of the 430-2. So we'll do a full review of that vehicle for you guys, so you guys keep informed and whether you want to actually use the on-track event to get that vehicle. And yeah, it'll be an interesting one for sure, and I've never played the K91 yet, so it'll be a good one to try out and see what it's like. But more importantly, we then have the new contract for the roundabout, so that's like the tier 5 mercenary vehicle, nothing interesting. We then have the trade-in event, which is what this is. So tank trade-in event, which premium tank will you get? So this is the event that I always say to avoid 90% of the time, because it's almost a bit of a scam, really. I mean, it's not necessarily, but essentially what you do is you can pick from a list of premium tanks that you can get using the trade-in event, and what you do is you submit your already owned premium tanks into this to get a discount on the actual tank that you want to buy. So, for example, if you have one vehicle like the IS-6 here, and you're submitting a Tiger, you will get 50% of the value of this premium tank right here, and that will go towards this IS-6, for example. And then essentially you are getting, you know, whatever the gold value is off of this tank, and then you have to pay an additional amount of gold to fully get this tank in the game. But one of the things that always infuriates me about this is essentially what you're saying is you're not only getting rid of a vehicle that you already have as a premium, you're getting, you know, half of the price of the gold to get that vehicle out of the game. So you're getting rid of a vehicle you own, you're then taking half of the price of that gold and putting it towards another vehicle which is priced at full price. But remember, like, if you're buying premium tanks on World of Tanks console, you should always wait until they come on sale. If they're on bundle sales or whatever, it's the best time to buy it. But instead, what you're doing here is you're trading a tank that you already own getting half of the price and then taking it off the full price. So essentially you're losing a premium tank to get a percentage discount on the top tank that you're picking. So I mean, unless you were never ever gonna play this vehicle that you're trading into the event, then yeah, I mean, maybe it would be worth it, but for the most part, you're not going to get a 50% discount, which some of the bundles and some of the store deals actually bring you. So for most part, I would avoid this event entirely, and I would just wait until the tank that you actually want comes on sale, and then you don't have to get rid of a premium, and it's probably going to give you a better discount than when you actually swap it in anyway. So not only will you save yourself gold, but you also not have to trade in a premium tank that you already own to get that gold. Because remember, even if you have a premium tank that is terrible, that you're never going to play, if you get the key cards from the battle pass, if you get key cards from the long haul event, you can always potentially get that vehicle again, which is essentially going to give you a ton of gold back onto your account. And so it's far more valuable to have that vehicle on your account in case you get it again than you would be for, submitting it into half the cost of the gold value and then potentially getting it again and not actually getting any gold for it. But of course, they have a ton of vehicles that you can trade in. They have a ton of vehicles that you can actually pick out. And I'm not going to go through them all. There's just loads. You can see them in the tech tree, premium or premium tech tree within the game. And essentially, you just click on one that has the little kind of refresh icon. It's, the arrows in the bottom left. And it will say, do you want to trade in a premium tank? And then you pick the one that you want to trade in. And it will tell you how much gold it's going to give you and how much you have to pay, obviously, most important thing for wargaming. But either way, moving back away from the trading event, we have the Wargaming 25th anniversary. So what they've said here is, so let's begin kicking off the party, as well as trade in. You can look forward to 50% off emblems, inscriptions, flags, and camo vouchers. You can get selected bundles for XP, Commander XP, and Silver boosters. So these are your big bundles where you can get like times 5 XP boost, where you can get times 6 or times 8 or maybe even times 10 Commander XP boost, and of course times 2 Silver boosts being the best one. And of course then you can get yourself consumables, so premium consumables from the store. I'd never ever recommend actually buying premium consumables from the store for gold. Just a complete waste. You'd be better off just playing or paying for silver most of the time probably, but either way. And 2 tank bundles as well, so you can actually pick up the Gap Defenders, which comes with the Leopard VT2 and the M60A1 Rise, and then the Aggressive Expansion, which is the T72M1 and Object 934. So these are essentially your Cold War vehicles and Cold War bundles, as opposed to your traditional World War II bundles, which we've been having for the last couple of months primarily. But anyway, moving forward, Miscellaneous. So last week they ran control mode for World War II. They had 3,861 battles over the weekend, and it peaked on Saturday, so 1,500. So I'm going to tell you now, that was not very many battles at all for having it available over an entire weekend. And that's probably because maybe they just didn't tell you that it was even a game mode for the most part. Like there was no real pop-up saying you can play this new game mode. It's just there. Average damage across all tier 8 tanks in the control mode was like double that of the random battle, which you'd expect because you could respawn, and the credits was essentially the exact same. Average XP was actually lower, and the favourite tank was the Tiger II, closely followed by the T41A1. Community map held first event battle test of the community map in mid-June. Encounter only for World War II, 51.78% win rate. Map is off to Art for Polish Design, doing minor gameplay updates, and soon we'll be working with the community to help pitch an appropriate map name. So maybe we'll get an interesting map name, which of course you might be able to vote on. Maybe you can give your own suggestions on the Discord. But that's essentially what's coming next week. We have the anniversary sales. I'm sure there'll be a ton more content as well. And there's always, and I'm telling you, always a free tank earn operation that will come in around the anniversary as well, which you can pick up, one of 4 tanks that they make available to you. So I can almost guarantee that there will be a earn operation, so a free tank that you'll be able to pick up for the most part, if not like directly, but in like 2 weeks, guaranteed there'll be something like that. I can expect. But anyway, moving down to the questions section. Can you please fix the marks of excellence on the lemon rust to not look like squished alien heads? Because of the shape of the model and how short the barrel is, we don't have much opportunity. So it's just because it's got a tiny barrel. Would it be possible to get a firing range mode? Funnily enough, with the new training mode, it's designed to feel a bit like a firing range. So if we were to implement a firing range, it could be set up with particular armor values, so you could test your pen. It could just be something to get a gauge of your RNG, but we're not making any commitments. We'll think about it, but don't expect to see anything this year. That's kind of good news. I think it would be good to have somewhere where you can test out a vehicle, see what sort of setup you want to play with, and just test it out in that way, rather than custom games, because they are pretty bad, and they don't, you just want to literally go into a game, and plus custom games, you need 2 people minimum. So if you just want to test out a tank, see what the accuracy is, see how fast you could go with a tank, a firing range would be nice to have. Will we see more camo vouchers available in the resolutions program? There are no additional camo vouchers planned for the next couple of months. How long will Nebelberg map be in high frequency? So as it's a new map, we increased the frequency and did a little more tuning, but we noticed it wasn't showing up much as we'd like. So in the past week, we've upped the frequency a bit more. We would like to see feedback from players. Do you enjoy seeing it a lot, or is it too much? For me, I've seen it a lot, and I'm talking, I've played maybe 20 games in the last week. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times out of the last week, which when you consider there's probably like 20 maps in the game right now, seeing it 5 out of 20 is massive. It's 20%, so 25%. So yeah, it's pretty. It's just there all the time. It's kind of annoying. I'd probably see it maybe 3 times. It would be nice to get it. But yeah, I don't really know. Maybe it'll be interesting to see what you guys think in the comment section down below. So let me know. It'd be an interesting one. But could you please consider a contract for artillery players? I mean, hello. Oh, please no mercenary contracts for artillery. Yes, we are working on more contract considerations in the future, but right now it's not currently in the plans. Brilliant news. This is what we want to hear. No artillery, please. Any more visual graphic updates planned? We are planning on adding some real-time reflections into the water, and you can expect more texture upgrades as we bring over more things from PC. So very fantastic. It's always good to see more graphical updates, and this is a good question to actually be asked, since I feel like a lot of it is kind of just like silly things that get asked in the question sometimes, but it'd be good to get an idea as to what they're actually planning. So very nice one there. Can we get more versions of the Leclerc instead of just one? So stay tuned for a future update. More Leclercs possibly on the way. Interesting. Will the new control mode be around stay after the testing, or is it going to be random battles? Our goal on the development side was to deliver control mode as a limited time event mode. This is exactly what it should be, in my own opinion. It should be a limited time event mode. I don't want to be playing this if I'm just playing in the random queue. I just don't think it would be great. It can be incorporated into any given season, so expect to see control mode coming out much more later down the line. To answer your question, whether it will be in normal rotation, this will be up to the players. In my personal opinion, I don't want to sway you. I just don't think it would be a good idea. I think it would be much more interesting to keep it as a limited time event mode, have some kind of bonuses that if you play, 100 games in control mode in a month, that you get some kind of bonus or exclusive reward, maybe even a camo or a skin or something like that you could apply, that's just limited. This would be really cool. It would be nice to have, and it would give you a reason to play the mode, since it doesn't really give you anything much more than the standard mode at the minute. A little bit of rewards makes things interesting, and it makes you want to play and grind and learn the game mode. So yeah, this would be something very good, but I don't want to see it in random battles personally. Can you add the TOG 2 to Cold War Era 3 and give it plenty of buffs? So this tank was barely a World War II tank, and you're asking us to throw it into Era 3. I will tell you what, we can follow up on this, and maybe we make it into a funny event game mode. This would be actually class if they somehow managed to get the TOG 2 into a Cold War game mode, Era 3, where maybe there's like one huge TOG 2 or something, like a giant TOG 2 against, 15 tanks or something like that. That would be funny. Similar to the Waffenträger event that they had on PC, where they had like an electrified Waffenträger. It was really weird against a load of other like players playing in just the standard vehicles. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Can we have Wargaming staff as commanders? Most likely no. I know we did staff as commanders in the past. I mean, yes, it's possible. But from our perspective, I don't think it's something we will really follow up on. So essentially what I think they're saying here is like, people who are staff, they don't want to be in the game all the time. I think they work a lot on the game. They're probably thinking like, having themselves in the game, you know, if they leave or there becomes like bad blood between the company and an employee or something, you know, you never know what's going to come up in the future. So I think as a business, having their own staff in the game is maybe not the best idea, because, you know, once it's in there, people are going to buy it, and then they've got a commander where if something comes on, and I'm talking like, you know what actors and some of these celebrities get up to in their spare time, and if you know, I think it puts Wargaming in an awkward position, which is why they probably don't want to have them in there, which I completely agree with. You know, it's probably it's risky for them, I think. Can we get the Jamaican? And by the way, I'm not saying that anyone in Wargaming is doing dodgy things outside of anything. I'm just saying that if, you know, something comes up or someone does do anything like that, it puts Wargaming in a very compromised position, where they've got someone that they're going to have to then sell or remove and then recompensate people, and yeah, it just becomes a bit dodgy. Anyway, moving on, can we get the Jamaican and Lebanese flags put into the flag selection? We can get a ticket on this and see about getting them in the game for the future, which is good. And that sounds pretty decent. Be interesting to see more customization, as I always say. And if you have any questions before you leave the video, please do. If you want me to ask Wargaming any specific questions, I'm not talking about can you nerf the AVRE or stuff like that, but if you have anything that you think is a good idea that Wargaming should hear, just basically, you know, ask them a question. Can we have this? Can we have that? What sort of thing would you like to see in the game? What sort of premium tanks? Have you got any tanks that you want to see from real life put into World of Tanks console? Let me know in the comments, because I'm going to be doing hopefully a video where we gather up all of those comments and hopefully get a nice little talk with some of the developers or someone at Wargaming where we can talk to and see what their plans are, whether these ideas are any good, and I will table some of them and hopefully follow them up with a bit more of an advanced detailed investigation into what all of these questions are going to be, and then make sure that they're actually decent ideas, so when we do table them, that Wargaming could potentially action on them. So yeah, hopefully you give me an idea, and hopefully you'll join me in the next video. Don't forget that there is the Fratonite, which is the brand new light tank that you can have a look at the review, and that will be on screen right now. Thank you very much for watching. You guys are absolutely epic, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.